First of all, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. It's part of a discussion that needs to be had in the world of sailing about how we seek gender equity on boats and throughout race teams and across the sport of sailing.
1993, which was my first race, it was Heineken that competed as the second all-female team in this race, following in the footsteps of Tracy Edwards and her iconic campaign. So it therefore does feel a little bit strange that, and maybe slightly sad, that we're still having to talk about diversity and inclusion in this particular race. And the title of this event, On the Horizon, isn't lost on me and seems quite pertinent. But so surely in 2023, we should not have to hold panel discussions like this. And I very much hope that come the next race, this will just be the norm and we don't need to have panel discussions.
It's my second year doing offshore sailing. And I thought, wow, well, this is a great opportunity. Let's grab this and see where it can bring me. And I was linked to Annemieke Bes, also Dutchie. And I think it was really good to have someone with the same mindset and the same goals she wants to achieve, to see how she created her path into the world. And I think for me, that helped me really to reflect to a female, because mainly I've always been sailing with guys around me, and that's normal for me. But it's nice to see another women's perspective as well. I think it's nice for the Magenta Project in general that we can show our pathways, and I think that's what I would like to do, how I get where I am. For me, I never think daily about being a female on a team. I'm always there, being part of a team and adding my skills to the team. And I'm always thinking about what can I do to become a better sailor, just like everyone else in the team.
And we were looking for our crew for the inshore circuit, and we kind of got together a team and said, well, who have we got as ideas for crew? And we noticed all that there were very few women, and the women there were, we all came up with the same names. And we came first and then second in the Pro Sailing Tour with the only mixed team. And actually in the second year, we weren't the only mixed team. So, we probably had 40 different women coming through the program over the 2 years, or coming through the program, who came sailing with us at some stage. And everything from Olympic medal sailors in the games to youngsters who are at university and wanting to become professional sailor, to experienced sailors. And some of them loved it and kind of managed to get a job elsewhere in the multi-hull world. And some of them thought it was interesting and maybe for later. And it was just kind of opening a few doors, and we thought we could help, and we helped actually more than we thought we could. So for women to get to the level of Annie and Abby and the people that did SCA 10 odd years ago now, it doesn't start from Sail GP when you're sailing against Peter Burling and Ben Ainsley. You can't kind of magic 30 years of experience. So it really does start a bit lower down. And that's where on the Ocean 50, which is kind of the entry level to offshore multi-hulls, we hoped we could kind of make a little bit of a difference. So for me, it's a change which is happening. We can't expect to change overnight, and we could always do better. We could always do faster, but it's got to start somewhere. And unfortunately, experience is time, and time takes time.
In 2022, on the last edition of the Roadworm, we had a chance to organize some events with the Magenta, and I think it was great to see all these women together, to have the chance to network and to exchange different experiences. So in 2023-2024, we want to keep going with Magenta collaboration, and we are going to launch our IMOCA 60 program with the goal to involve and empower 60 women within different experiences, like different events and networking, like experiences in sailing and events. The goal of this program is to create some opportunities to make links between teams and women from the Magenta collective. We also want to increase talents in giving them the opportunity to gain experiences on our boats. I think it's also important to share success stories and to inspire more women to come and to join.
At the end of the day, my experience is very simple. You just need to say you're welcome and mean it, and do initiatives that show it.
When the review was conducted, we were at a standing start. So I think it was December 19?
Yes, it was.
So December 19, even thinking back then, we didn't have a development director. We didn't have anyone really focused on gender at all, or the promotion of female sailors. So we've just gone through a voting process for governance reform. And part of that governance reform is to evolve what was the Women's Forum into a equity, inclusivity and gender equality committee, which is all part of a voting process. And that essentially creates the working party that we need as an international federation to control the sport. We're talking about access to boats. If you think of how many boat owners are men and invite their mates along, that's got to be one of the factors that prevent women having opportunities. And I think with more events opening their doors and saying, welcome, come and try the equipment first, give it a go, and you're going to be giving it a go with experienced people who will then have opportunities in the future. I think that's probably a starting point. And events like these, not always leaning on Andrew to host them all the time, but I think these are also opening up doors and showcasing what's going on with, whether it's Magenta Project or World Sailing Trust or whoever. I think that's probably a good starting point. And I think with the special events charter that World Sailing wrote, it sort of gives a push in that direction to enable more opportunity for women, but I don't think it does the full job. I think it really needs buy-in from events and from campaign owners or managers to drive it.
What I understood, it's almost everything is about networking, and networking is something you build over time, and if you got the chance, and it's very hard at the beginning to get into this world. And one thing that Magenta Project did, and I will never thank you guys enough, it's exactly that one, linking with professional sailors, with mentors, with other girls, other sailors that want to do the same and that can inspire you, advise, teach you, and that's incredible. Obviously, you have to put the work in and be there for the team, and I mean, you really have to want it, but sometimes that's not enough, and that's the shame. I mean, there are a lot of girls that wants to get there and that are working for it, and they don't know how.
I mean, transitioning from Olympic classes into big boats anyway is a difficult step for everyone, male or female, but a lot of the guys do seem to do it. I think a great thing for me about the IMOCA and offshore sailing is, I mean, if you look at the most successful IMOCA sailors, they seem to be quite small men. And you know, Ellen MacArthur did pretty well. Sam Davies does very well. I don't think we need to argue about the size of people anymore. We don't actually push boats along, the wind does. So I think we've got to remember that. Yes, we do help power them, but it isn't about all power. It's about networks, and you sort of bring along your mates. And it's trying to grow that, and it's really, really hard. And it's not only getting on the boat, it's getting in a key role. Last ocean race, we saw where they encouraged women on the boat. There were women on the boat, but perhaps not always in key roles. No, not always. That's being very generous. Not in key roles. The good thing with SCA was, you know, Sam had to skipper it. One of us had to skipper. Someone had to be a watch captain. We had to trim it. We had to drive it. I know that, like for Sally and myself, we match raced on the world tour a lot whilst we were Olympic sailing. And I think for me, and I think for Sally, that was pretty fundamental actually to getting into the ocean race, because at least we were familiar with sailing bigger boats and quite short-handed. So yeah, I think we've got to look at what pathways are available. Find your group and bring them with you and try and do it together, because I think it makes you much stronger. Team SCA does seem a long time ago now, I guess thankfully, because it's not that long ago, but a lot has changed, I think. As Team SCA, we were an all-female team in the ocean race in 2014-15. We had to be an all-female team because I think that was the only way we could be in the race. There hadn't been any women in the ocean race for more than 12 years. And I know everyone probably remembers Maiden, but basically since after the Whitbread, the boats became the Volvo 70s. Everyone said they're very big and powerful. That was kind of the reason there shouldn't be any women on board. I don't say it's a valid one, but that was the reason, I think. So yeah, I think our only way in was to form our own team. Luckily, SCA were a fantastic sponsor. They wanted to have women in the race, so we had the opportunity. And that was really sort of the start of this new era. I think when SCA finished, we realised that we'd amassed a great following, largely thanks to Vicky being our comms operator. But yeah, we really wanted to carry that on. And something we felt that was really important was we had this huge network of girls, a lot of them are in the room. We were from all over the world, who were the crew and in the team on SCA, and we wanted to kind of keep that going because the biggest thing for us had been this networking with each other. And I think often that you don't see girls on big boats, not because guys are trying to stop them, it's just that you don't know them, you're not in the network. And as everyone knows, how you get any job, it's always about sort of who you know, and we just didn't know anyone. When we turned up in Alicante in 2014, we did not know any of the other sailors on the other boats because, I mean, I'd come from the Olympics, quite a few of us had, and it was just a completely different scene. So we just didn't know the sailors. So yeah, when we started the Magenta Project with Vicky's help, the goal was really just to try and grow this network through mentoring, through doing clinics, and to build opportunities. And it's brilliant.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Just to close very briefly, let's not make this an echo chamber. Let's carry on talking. Let's carry on trying to network. We'd like to reach out to as many people who are here in the room and to who might be listening online. I can say that, can't I? Who might be listening online, to reach out to us. We want to get as many more. We want more Leytons. We need more foiling weeks. We need more of special events supporting not only what the Magenta Project's doing, what the World Sailing Trust is trying to do, and what the Ocean Race ultimately we hope will do. So thank you very, very much to everybody. Another big shout out to GAC Pindar.
A year ago, we amended the mission and purpose of the Magenta Project, where it wasn't just about magenta, it was about cyan, yellow, and black, to make sure we're covering all aspects of diversity and inclusion in the sport of sailing, because I think, I'm looking around, that we're all pretty white. So that in itself is a problem for world society, and if we're going to engage and involve and include, we've got to make sure that we're not just white people playing, even if it's 50-50 men and women. We've also got further work we need to do to be inclusive and to celebrate diversity of humankind.